Valier, Stanford Financial Group Chief Political Strategist, also Paul Schatz of Heritage Capital, and Jason Petruba, Scout Investment Advisors. Hi guys, big day here. Greg, is this bounce that we're seeing up about 300 points right now in the Dow attributed to Obama?
Maybe a little. Maybe two things. Number one, I don't think they'll get quite to 60 in the Senate. They may get to 58 or so. I think the markets would not be happy.
So not necessarily a sweep.
Yeah, if there was a really big sweep tonight, I think the markets wouldn't like it. I think secondly, there's a realization that Obama may have to move toward the center. He'll be constrained by the size of the bailout bill, by the size of deficits, and he's got to worry about still another election in 2010 and 2012. If he moves too far to the left, what will happen to him is what happened to Bill Clinton. He got Newt Gingrich after 2 years. So I think Obama knows that.
Paul, if we see a rally today, what happens tomorrow?
Well, as Greg said earlier, I think it really depends on what happens tonight. Clearly, the market's priced in my opinion, fully an Obama victory. The markets has not priced in Democrats getting 60 seats in the Senate. If the Democrats get 60 seats in the Senate, the market's not going to be happy tomorrow. If they don't, we probably have another brief rally, but I think in the short term, after tomorrow, we will have come as far as we're going to come in the short term.
Jason, you know, it goes without saying, and I'm not being political here, but, you know, without a doubt, President Bush has not been a popular president. The idea of a regime change, how much of that is playing into what we're seeing right now in the markets?
Well, certainly, I think just getting through this election will remove a lot of uncertainty, and I think there's some companies right now where we're just seeing the companies literally being given away. So I think there's a tremendous amount of pessimism in this market right now, and just getting through the election, I think will unleash some opportunities.
There's a lot of pessimism in the market overall, but I mean, watching this market this morning, it's really on a tear, up 300. You mentioned a few things, but how much is confidence here, the idea of change and people being excited about that?
I think that is important, and no offense to the media, but the media is very fond of Barack Obama, and I think there'll be a spin going through inauguration that this really is a dramatic change. I think that will help the level of confidence. Not to be a buzzkill, you got to mention Friday we get a really terrible unemployment report, and we still have a lot to worry about.
Okay, let's you can see to the left of Greg there some video of Sarah Palin in Wasilla. She is casting her vote. That is live video coming in right now from Alaska. Sarah Palin going to the polls, casting her vote. You know, there's been a lot of criticism about McCain and Sarah Palin's campaign all along. What are some of the mistakes do you think that they made, or some of the good things that they've done, Paul Schatz?
Well, I mean, clearly, you know, choosing Sarah Palin as your running mate will go down as either the most brilliant move if he wins, or it will be a horrible move if he loses. The market clearly is pricing in Obama victory, so the market's saying McCain made a poor choice in Sarah Palin. All politics aside, speaking just from the markets, but you know, listen, this is all boiling down to cleaning up the mess of the credit crisis is going to take time. The next president's going to inherit an amazing disaster. Unless you think everything's falling off a cliff, he's going to get credit for what's going on right now with the government.
And do you think, Greg, that he'll actually start to address, whoever becomes president, whether that's McCain or whether that's Obama, will he start to address the economic problems that we're seeing right now?
Right away. And before you went to Palin, I was saying we get probably a really bad unemployment report on Friday. That will confirm that we're in a deepening recession. I think whoever wins, probably Obama, convenes an economic ad hoc emergency team within days. You know, Warren Buffett, Paul Volcker, Larry Summers, they're going to convene, I think, within the next week. If it's
an Obama victory. Back over to Jason. Jason, you know, we know the markets are really anticipating something within the next 6 to 9 months. Judging by the upside we've seen over the last several weeks, it looks like they're pricing in an economic recovery. What if that recovery doesn't happen?
Well, I think with the trillions of dollars that have been pumped into the system, I think that's finally when we'll begin to see some of the real effects. So I am a little more optimistic that we will begin to see that recovery then.
Paul, do you agree with that?
Well, are we going to recover eventually? Absolutely.
Well, what about 6 to 9 months?
It's going to be a slow and very painful process. People looking for the magic bullet will be disappointed. We've seen unparalleled unparalleled damage to the financial system. It's not going to be repaired in days, weeks, or months. It's going to take quarters and probably a couple years.
Wow. Okay, so a couple years. Greg, are you on board with that as well? It's a long process?
Sadly, it's going to look worse before it gets better. Yep.
So without a doubt, whoever wins this election is clearly going to be facing, Greg, some serious challenges.
You got to wonder, who'd want this job?
That's a good point. Who would right now? You know, who is the market, though, telling you they think is going to get it? Up 300.
Well, I think today there may be some relief rally, but it's just one day. I wouldn't overinterpret it. I think, again, as we all said in the last few minutes, if there's a sweep tonight, we could be looking at a totally different market tomorrow morning.
Palin just voted. We're watching her start to leave, it looks like. She's just out of the booth, just having cast her vote. We're waiting to get some video as well from Arizona of John McCain, who should be voting shortly as well. I want to head finally back over to Paul and to Jason for some ideas on how to invest right now. Paul, what do you buy?
We're a big fan of biotech right now. Biotech's mostly been insulated from the credit crisis, so that'd be my number one sector. I like, as a laggard play, energy stocks are going to bounce. They've been decimated beyond belief. They're going to bounce as the rubber band is about as stretched as it ever gets there. And then you look at some traditional favorites like regional banks, the smaller banks we like, and semiconductors.
Okay, some good ideas. Jason, real quick.
Sure, I think there's some great buys in agriculture. I take a good look at Intrepid Potash right now. I think there's a lot of technology names where 40, 50, 60, 70% of their market cap is in cash right now. You know, I agree with energy, industrials. I think we're going to see a lot of spending on infrastructure.
Okay. Great. Jason, Paul, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us on this all-important Election Tuesday. Melissa is here with me as well as Dylan.
It's interesting to watch this video of Sarah Palin. You kind of have the same take that you did when we saw Barack Obama earlier with his family. They are exhausted, and rightly so. I mean, here she is. We heard she flew all through the night to get back to Alaska to vote in her hometown there. And it just, it has been a very long road for all of the candidates, obviously. And you see her there, you know, sort of coming out of the booth and talking to everyone and glad-handing everyone. But Barack Obama, especially his kids, looked really exhausted at this point. Dylan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. We're a witness to history. It's that simple. I mean, this is the end of hundreds of years of white men running for president of the United States, period. And now you have a woman running on the Republican ticket and a black man running on the Democratic ticket. That, in and of itself, makes today a historic day. However this comes out, not that that's any profound thought on my part, but again, I think that watching Sarah Palin vote, watching Obama earlier, just shows that there is a turning of a page here in American history that, as a group of 300 million of us, give or take, we are all bearing witness to.
And guys, look at the close.
And this is, just to interrupt for a second, this is John McCain now. We switched. We're seeing John McCain getting ready to cast his vote. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Dylan. It is a historic day no matter how you slice it.
Greg, you wanted to jump in?
Look at the clothes that Sarah Palin wore.
Don't do that.
I was going to say a word about that. Let the record show
that jacket was like 50 grand, Greg. I think that.
But it was really funky.
It's a Prada ski jacket. It was $10 million.
She resented what the Republican Party made her wear.
It wasn't fair.
And now she's dressing funky. Believe me, guys, she's running in 2012.
That's what that's about then. In other words, more casual clothing, more true to who